Okay, this is going to get into some really deep areas, and I'm going to try to keep it as simple as I can while covering as much as I can at the same time. So this is an artist's interpretation of the Big Bang and, what science says happened after the original expansion of the universe from some unknown source. So I saw this image and it kind of made some things click for me, and it really reminded me of Kabbalah and the emanations from the source, or the singularity here, which would be the Ein, or the Ein Sof, and the Ein Sof are, out into the tree of life, which you can see here. So this Kether here is the first emanation into physical reality, and then it splits into the dual poles and then down through the other spheres. And let me show you here what the source is according to Kabbalah. So we have the three aspects of the Absolute: the Ein Sof, and the Ein Sof or however you want to say it. Let me read this short text for you. The abstract absolute space is divided into three parts. In Kabbalah, the first part is called Ein, which means nothingness. Ein is formed by three letters: Aleph, Yod, and final Nun. Ein, the nothingness, is the abstract space from where everything emerges. When we say the nothingness, it is not because it is nothing, but because it is something unrelated with what we know in this universe. It is something else, but not matter, not energy. Even though matter and energy emerge from the Ein, it is not matter or energy. It is impossible to describe that which is not matter, that which is not energy, because everything that we might describe will always be explained through matter and energy. Okay, which that reminds me of, the Taoist teachings, where they say that the Tao which can be described or named is not the true Tao, or the Most High God, or whatever you want to say, where, the original source is indescribable and cannot be seen or quite understood through our limited human perceptions and senses. So anyway, the Ein is like the primordial chaos. The Ein Sof here is what they call the limitless light, I think. And this pretty much is showing how the condensed energy, or whatever we want to call it, manifests into the physical reality and emanates through these three aspects into Kether, which is the first phase of energy or light that we can see in our physical reality. So this would be like the energy from the inside of the sun, the black sun, or whatever you want to call it, when it first creates the fusion in the corona and then creates the light and the heat that powers the solar system. That would be like Kether here. And then it goes out into everything we see and trickles down into all forms of matter and vibration and frequency of energy. So I got some more pictures here. Okay, so this just ties into so much. I'm going to see where to start here. So this here is a really genius man by the name of Walter Russell. Had a lot of this stuff figured out and explained it sort of scientifically in a way that's easier for some to understand. So this is his view of the evolution of matter from the mind, or the source, the mind of God, and how it, emanates out into the various phases of energy and matter here. So, you can look into that and kind of investigate that some more. Here is another diagram of the Ein Sof and how it emanates. So you had the Ein, which is before all this, but it's the nothingness. You can't really, understand or describe it, and this is the first level of things that you can start to describe. So the Ein Sof is transcendence, the upper world, still before it actually manifests out into the other 10 Sephiroth. Okay, this is a circular version of the Tree of Life, which I think it's called the Simsum, and it's a way to try to explain the process of creation and all that. But you can see here it looks very similar to, the singularity, and then, concentric circles, like a vortex. Same thing here, the Ein. I think here they might have it starting from the outside. I'm not exactly sure, but let's just, for the sake of this, let's look at it like this. So this would be like the singularity, and then, the emanations out through the tree. My mouse isn't working that great, sorry. So let me pick another one. Okay, this is just a basic drawing of a vortex, which we probably all know what a vortex is, but you can see how this is related to all that. You have the singularity down here, and either way you look at it, you can say that things are either emanating, out this way, and then this would kind of be like the Big Bang here, and then it's emanating out and spiraling and all that. Or you could say that, things are being slowly sucked into this, kind of like a black hole or something. Just depends on which way you want to look at it, your perspective and all that. Let's see. Okay. My buddy Roger Spur, really got me into some interesting stuff about vortex particles, quantum physics, and he's got a friend who did this light experiment where he shined a laser through what he called a Venturi slit, and the slit caused the light to collapse in on itself in a way that it compacted so hard that it had to burst out of the other side, and when it did, it slowed the light down just enough to where somehow he could use his equipment to photograph it. And, as it bursts back out, you can see that the electrons are forming a perfect, vortex pattern here. The bright light here would be like the singularity, or the Ein, or the source, or, Kether, however you want to look. The Ein would probably be even, more inside of this here, but this would be like the first emanation, and then as it spreads out, it's the rest of the spheres on the tree, or, on that Big Bang picture, it would be the evolution of things. Of course, this, is just a very short amount of time for this light to travel, because the speed of light from our perspective is so fast. This is just a millionth of a fraction of a second or whatever, but you can see how the process works. And it doesn't seem like a coincidence that these electron patterns here are perfect concentric circles, just like this, circular representation of the Tree of Life. Here we have a drawing which is about the Anima Mundi. It's called, I can't remember the name of the drawing, but basically the same thing. Oh, hold on. You have the source up here, which is the Yod He Vav He. Here's the Sophia. Things are emanating down into this circular pattern and showing you how the elements and the various phases of matter and the different kingdoms, the animal, vegetable, mineral kingdom, and all that. You can get much deeper into all this, and I haven't figured it all out yet, but you can see how it's all related. But back to this picture here. So yeah, the electrons from this singularity or source here are spreading out, and you can see that they're forming these circular patterns. So it's actually traveling in a wave, but there's particles here. You know, the electron is swirling so fast, and his equipment is just not quite fast enough, you know, to capture it faster than this. So this is what you're seeing based on his lens speed and all that. But you can see that it's still traveling in a wave, in a circular wave. But if you could speed it up or slow down, or however you want to say it, you would see that there's a particle or particles spinning so fast it's creating these circles. And you know, you got a higher rate of vibration here and then slower. And also, just like with the electromagnetic spectrum or the visible light spectrum, the chakra system, this and that, you know, your slower vibrations you know, turn into purple, and then your faster ones are the red. You know, this is approaching more of a red, and then the, you know, the very bright light here, which would be like the monoatomic gold, or the, you know, the very highest vibration of them all. And then as it emanates out, your vibration slows. Your distance between your peaks on your sine wave and all that will, you know, will spread out. So that might be too deep for, you know, some to understand, but you'll get it as you look into more of this. Let me see what picture I want to use next. Okay, here's another representation of a vortex, you know, looking straight down into it. Here's the side view, and then here's a top view. And then it just gets so much deeper from here. You can just take this any direction you want. You know, you have the Fibonacci spiral, or the golden section, golden spiral here, which is just one, you know, selected section of a spiral or a vortex, and it shows you the mathematical proportions. You have your Fibonacci sequence inside every one of these sections, you know, and you can just take it deeper and deeper. It's a fractal basically, and you could just keep taking this. If you could just go down that vortex here, it would be the same as this section, but just infinitely repeating down through that singularity there, or back out, you know, this way for infinity. It just depends on where in the spiral you're looking from. See if we got anything else worth looking at here. What is this one? Okay, we got that. So yeah, you just see how it all, you know, really connects to each other, and how the Big Bang and all that is really just from our limited perspective, and how far back we can measure and all that is basically just, you know, a Fibonacci sequence, you know, as far back as we can go. And just like the you know, the Ein and the Ein Sof here, it's the unknowable. It's the ineffable God, the unknowable, unspeakable Tao, all that stuff. We don't know exactly what the source is. We can only start to see and measure it once it emanates out into physical reality. And that's basically what the Big Bang is saying. We don't know what's happening here or where the energy came from, but we can measure and see how, as the energy travels out and slows down and you know, does various things, how it evolves and turns into other elements and things like that. Oh, you know, I could talk about this for hours and keep on going, but I think it's a good place to stop here. I'll do some more videos as it comes up and I think of things worth talking about, but yeah, really interesting stuff. Thanks.